I'm free to think and to speak. My ancestors couldn't, I can.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the classic Hollywood movies whose heartfelt messages continue to inspire us. For this list, we're looking at the Golden Age, so we're only including movies made before 1970. Spoiler alert!
You've always had the power to go back to Kansas. I have.
Then why didn't you tell her before?
Because she wouldn't have believed me. She had to learn it for herself.
Number 10. The Sound of Music. Critics may have had a mixed reaction to its sugary sweet perspective, but the Julie Andrews-led 3-hour epic adaptation of the Broadway musical has had fans singing along ever since.
When you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything.
The story, of course, follows a novice nun who becomes nanny to a stern Austrian captain's 7 children. She and the children form a singing troupe, and she falls in love with the captain.
I ask you to stay.
If I could be of any help.
You have already.
Full of good cheer and hummable tunes, it'd be understandable if you forgot there was a whole subplot about the Third Reich. The Sound of Music may seem sentimental and naive, but there's also a very relevant anti-fascist message mixed in with all the family-friendly yodeling and dancing. Number 9. The Diary of Anne Frank.
I can shake off everything if I write, but, and that is the great question, will I ever be able to write well? I want to so much. I want to go on living even after my death.
The diaries Holocaust victim Anne Frank kept while hiding from Nazis with her family and neighbours have become mandatory reading in schools all over the world. Throughout this film adaptation, the group in the attic quarrel and let their fear get the best of them. But despite her age, Anne remains steady in her compassion.
I know it's terrible trying to have any faith when people are doing such horrible. But you know what I sometimes think? I think the world may be going through a phase.
What the movie and the play it's based on seek to capture is Anne's impenetrable optimism. Even in the face of tremendous persecution, fear and looming death, the movie centres her belief in humanity's innate virtues.
I still believe, in spite of everything, that people are really good at heart.
Number 8. The Miracle Worker. Based on the clash and eventual breakthroughs of Helen Keller and her teacher Annie Sullivan, The Miracle Worker is emotional and affirming. Still, it's not a breezy watch.
She didn't like that alphabet, Miss Sullivan. You invented yourself.
Spanish monks under a vow of silence, which I wish you take.
Keller isn't portrayed as a saint. She is defiant, vulnerable and human, struggling against attempts to make her come to terms with her disabilities. Sullivan problematically wrestles Keller into submission at some points, and it's exhausting just to watch, but it's what makes their breakthroughs feel all the more earned. Reprising their roles in the Broadway production, Anne Bancroft and Patty Duke both won Oscars for their work.
I know one word and I can put the world in your hand. And whatever it is to me, I won't take less.
Number 7. Miracle on 34th Street. Edmund Gwenn became one of the earliest and most memorable screen Santa Clauses in this holiday classic. He plays Kris Kringle, a man who's hired to portray Santa at the New York City Macy's store, and actually does believe he is the real deal.
Would you please tell her that you're not really Santa Claus? That there actually is no such person? Well, I'm sorry to disagree with you, Mrs. Walker, but not only is there such a person, but here I am to prove it.
Now, through a certain lens, a lot of the movie plays out like a cross between a psychological thriller and a courtroom drama. Fortunately, it's all played for good old-fashioned Christmas cheer.
Tell me, Tommy, why are you so sure there's a Santa Claus?
Because my daddy told me so. Didn't you, Daddy?
Though it was remade in 1994, it couldn't compare to the original. Miracle on 34th Street is a perfect combination of golden age efficiency, genuinely heartwarming sentiment, and clever twists on the holiday movie formula.
I can't think of anyone I'd rather spend Christmas with. Would you like to come to dinner tonight?
Tonight? I can't. It's Christmas Eve.
Number 6, High Noon.
They're making me run. I've never run from anybody before.
Well, I don't understand any of this.
Well, I haven't got time to tell you.
Then don't go back, Will.
I've got to. That's the whole thing.
This early revisionist western is, on the surface, a classic story about a showdown between a sheriff and 4 vicious outlaws hell-bent on revenge. But the real story is the sheriff, played by Gary Cooper, whose sense of duty is too strong to flee with his fellow townsfolk.
Don't try to be a hero. You don't have to be a hero, not for me.
I'm not trying to be a hero. If you think I like this, you're crazy. Look, Amy, this is my town. I've got friends here. I'll swear in a bunch of special deputies, and with a posse behind me, maybe there won't even be any trouble.
One by one, his seemingly respectable citizens turn their backs on him, too afraid to stand up in the face of danger. Abandoned by the people he's sworn to protect, he will face the villains alone. Given the political climate, a movie about standing up for what's right at a great personal cost resonates with many who are against blacklisting and the House Un-American Activities Committee.
Why is it so important to you? You don't care if I live or die.
Come on.
Don't shove me, Harv. I'm tired of being shoved.
Number 5, The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy Gale and her band of merry and fantastical friends first captured children's imaginations in book form. L. Frank Baum's characters would eventually become an integral part of movie history with this lavish 1939 production.
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Here he is, the Wizard of Wiz, if ever a whiz there was.
Between Judy Garland's iconic performance as the wide-eyed Kansas girl and the fantastical settings, The Wizard of Oz is a seminal Hollywood classic. Captured in glorious Technicolor and set to some of the movie's most unforgettable music, Dorothy's journey is wondrous and unforgettable.
And a couple of tra-la-las, that's how we laugh the day away in the merry old land of Oz.
Beyond its artifice, though, are universal messages of hope and comfort that any child can easily recognise. It's a celebration of imagination, found family, and the pure ingenuity of the Golden Age.
And the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true.
Number 4, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
You all think I'm late. Well, I'm not late. And I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause. Even if this room gets filled with lies like these.
Director Frank Capra was known for a particular style of movie. The little guy always wins, despite all the odds. But Mr. Smith Goes to Washington balances the sweet stuff with incisive political commentary. It tells the story of a simple, good-natured man who finds himself elected to the US Senate as a pawn, but ends up in a one-man fight to bring down a corrupt political machine.
Boys forget what their country means by just reading The Land of the Free in history books. When they get to be men, they forget even more. Liberty's too precious a thing to be buried in books, Miss Saunders.
Men should hold it up in front of them every single day of their lives.
His goodness may seem naive when compared to the cynicism and backstabbing of politics, but his determination and failure to bend is an inspiration to battle against political corruption in any period. This performance solidified James Stewart's position as the Hollywood everyman everyone could root for.
Because this country is bigger than the Taylors, or you, or me, or anything else. Great principles don't get lost once they come to light. They're right here.
Number 3, The Grapes of Wrath.
If there was a law they was working with, maybe we could take it, but it ain't the law. They're working away in our spirits. They're trying to make us cringe and crawl, working on our decency.
John Steinbeck's 1939 Pulitzer Prize-winning novel about migrant workers in search of jobs, security, and their share of the American dream was a sensation when it hit bookshelves. 20th Century Fox snapped up the film rights and cast All-American leading man Henry Fonda as the resilient Tom Joad.
Wherever there's a fight so hungry people can eat, I'll be there. Wherever there's a cop beating up a guy, I'll be there.
The country was just coming out of the Great Depression, and while the story captured the era's grim instability, it also served as a farewell to its overwhelming sense of hopelessness. Like the lived experience of many Americans, the Joad family's struggle gave way to a renewed sense of community and social responsibility.
We're the people that live. They can't wipe us out, they can't lick us. We'll go on forever, Pa, 'cause we're the people.
Number 2, To Kill a Mockingbird.
You're going to hear some ugly talk about this in school. But I want you to promise me one thing. That you won't get into fights over it. No matter what they say to you.
Scout Finch is a young girl who watches her father, lawyer Atticus Finch, defend an African-American man from an assault charge brought by a white woman. The racist paradoxes of the period and setting are laid bare by the case, and we watch through Scout's eyes as her father does his best to wade through the wave of hate that comes their way.
I'm no idealist. To believe firmly in the integrity of our courts and of our jury system. That's no ideal to me. That is a living, working reality.
Atticus is the story's moral backbone. Gregory Peck's towering Academy Award-winning performance was enough to make audiences cheer in the aisles. He stands proudly in his convictions through all the ignorance, intimidation, and violence that comes his way.
In the name of God.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, It's a Wonderful Life. James Stewart once again plays the everyman daring to fight against forces that seem too big to fight alone.
Just remember this, Mr. Potter, that this rabble you're talking about, they do most of the working and paying and living and dying in this community. Well, is it too much to have them work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath?
It's a Wonderful Life follows the good-hearted George Bailey, who faces financial ruin at the hands of the greedy and misanthropic Mr. Potter. His guardian angel, Clarence, shows him how much lesser the world would be if he hadn't been born.
You see, George, you really had a wonderful life. Don't you see what a mistake it would be to throw it away?
Its unforgettable ending, which finds George running through the streets of Bedford Falls and reuniting with his loved ones, is like a try not to cry challenge. Before that was even a thing, the story is a resounding tribute to friendship, compassion, and hope when we're at our lowest.
Sir?
That's a Christmas present from a very dear friend of mine.
Which of these inspirational classics could you watch over and over? Tell us in the comments.
You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view.
Sir?
Till you climb inside of his skin, walk around in it.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.